Today's Friday, May 31st, last day of May, 74 degrees Fahrenheit, 24 degrees Celsius. We're going to be checking out these 3 hives here in the backyard apiary. Unfortunately, I didn't get the volume recorded. It wasn't plugged in right or something. Not sure what happened. Usually I test it before I start my videos, but I did not do it on this time, so it's the second time I have to do a voiceover. So we're going to get in the first hive here. This was the swarm that we moved from the farm apiary just to see how they're doing. As we crack it open here, you can see the bees through the inner cover here. We'll pop that off. Look for some beetles. And we don't see any beetles on the inner cover, which is good. My beetle traps in here. The upper box is full of honey as we pull these out. 9 frames. And it's capped off. It's considered wet capping because it's not real white, where the honey's right up against the cappings. And there's still a little bit of gaps on these, but we're not going to spend too much time on this. This hive, we'll see what happens here. We got this outer frame is empty mostly, so we're going to stick that in the middle. A little disappointed in the amount of comb that's been drawn this year. I think we've had a little too much rain, so it keeps interrupting the nectar flow. And I don't know if we're going to get much more in the nectar flow. I just got to make sure that these frames are spaced out properly. I mean, most of them are already capped, so they're not going to draw much more out if we do get any type of flow before I extract them. For some reason this year the bees seem to be putting more honey into the brood chamber than going up and drawing in these upper boxes. This frame out here, nice brood pattern. See here, they're just filling it up. They are backfilling some of those emergents, which concerns me a little bit because I'd prefer them to draw the comb and move that honey up into the next box. But that frame's running out of space too as they fill it up. And we'll move on to the swarm that we got from our friend Corey Nash in Arcadia. So when I checked this hive right after I got it, 9 days afterwards, did not find a queen in it, and Corey called me up and said there were still a bunch of bees out at the apple tree. So I rushed up there that morning thinking, well, maybe I did leave the queen behind, and caught the rest of the bees, but I never did find the queen. And we'll get in the next hive here and see if she appears. But these bees had a lot of space, and they had a lot of time this year to get queen right. Put an extra frame in there in the middle of April and hoping that they would get draw a queen. Never saw a queen. Then I got that call about the swarm, went and caught it, brought her back, and again, not a lot happening. But when we get down to the bottom, we will find the queen laying down there. And you'll see the beetle damage on these frames down here. Drawing this one out a little bit, and then you can see this one had some damage done to it. Squished the beetle there. Another frame that was damaged. So after the season's over, I'll get some of these older frames out, clean them up, probably melt down the wax, unless the bees salvage it, but sometimes you can't salvage the frames too well, or the wax too well, so you just cut it out, melt it down, render it, and one of these days I'll get around to making some wax products, bee balm or lip balm, and maybe some polish or something. You can see the eggs in here. This was thrilling to find when I found it. I said battle all month to get a queen, and finally we have evidence of a queen. So bees are working it pretty good. Brand new fresh eggs, larvae. Oh, yep, there she is. The top of the screen there. Got a little magnifying glass. You see her running around. One of these days I'll get comfortable working without gloves and be able to grab the queens and just mark them like so many other beekeepers do, but I'm not quite ready for that. Even though this is my 10th year of beekeeping, I'm just, in 10 years, that queen I smashed down in Madison was the first one that I know that I killed, and it was my fault. Got the queen out, she ran away a little bit. Gonna line her up, put our queen cage on here, or marking cage, that is. I got her pressed in there, got my marker ready, brush the bees off, and we'll dot her right here. Give it a second to dry. Find it doesn't take that long for it to dry, but the bees will clean it off her if you're not careful. There she is crawling around. She was heading towards the bottom of that frame there as we put her back in. So this is the one with the hog half comb on it. Gotta get a little bit of smoke before we get into them. Again, this is one I did take the queen excluder out the last time we were in here. Hoping that it would draw the bees up more, but again, with all the rain we've had, I think we missed out on a lot of the nectar flow. A little too much rain this year, I think. They have not drawn this hog half comb at all. Now the simple comb seemed like it was getting drawn out the last time we looked at that, and I'll be going over there on Sunday, June 2nd, to check those hives out. But they have not drawn this at all. As you can see here, I'm going to grab the camera, and it's just completely empty. A lot of bees up there working, but they have not drawn any of that wax out at all. I'm pretty disappointed in that this year, but we'll end up pulling it off probably next week or two when we extract honey, and save it for next year with the hopes that we'll have a better nectar flow. We'll see. I might end up leaving it on, see if there's any fall flow for them to build out, but at this point I might want to just pull it out. This box does have 10 frames in it. You saw me counting there. And every single one of these is full. So we're going to end up like another box of drawn comb that I'm going to putting on this hive, just to give them a little more space. But this box is just full of honey. Probably weighs, 40-50 pounds or so. You can really feel the weight when I separate it here. Go to pick it up. Good amount of weight to it. And we'll set it down. And we'll get into this next box here. And they still have 3 of my Queen Castle frames in here. You can see them there with the kind of the brownish, yellowish connectors there on that 3rd frame. So I'll pull out the 2nd frame here. And this hive, we're just checking to see how the queen's laying. She's doing pretty good. You can see here, already got a nice brood pattern. Got a lot of honey on this frame, bunch of pollen. So we're looking pretty good. Excuse me. So I went and got my drawn comb from the garage, and we're just going to set that right on top of the hive here and get right up into it. Hopefully the queen won't lay into it. I can't expect her to do that, but we'll see how it turns out. But we're going to put this on here and just put it all back together. Try not to crush any bees. You can see this comb is already drawn out. That's old brood comb. And I got some fresh wax here that they partially had drawn last year but never finished it. So I'm going to put that in the middle, see if we can get them to draw that at all. And, at the end of the year, whatever wax isn't drawn here, I'll go through these frames and pick out the wax that I want to melt down, clean these frames out. But they don't look too bad. But they did have brood in them at one time, and these are pretty old frames. I mean, probably 8-9 years old. So, appreciate y'all watching. We've done pretty well. We got 93 subscribers. I was hoping to get to 100 by the end of May, but we got to 93, so pretty darn close. Just missed by 7. And get these spaced out here a little bit. I want to put my beetle trap in here. Just make sure we don't have any beetles coming in. But thanks for watching Bee Loft by Liptac. We'll see you on the next video. Much appreciated.